Right, okay. So what happened with me was about a year ago, I read a book by Laurie Ladd called The Divine Design, and it's got this underlying theme of frequency and energy. And I was reading all about, all the different concepts and theories that these these entities imparted to her when she was on the way up to Machu Picchu. She basically had a download, and from what I read in the book, it was quite a huge download. And they basically told her to write this book called The Divine Design. So I started reading it, and it spoke about all kinds of frequencies. It spoke about the frequencies that we generate in our body through our emotions when we, when we have responses to various different events or whatever. So I'm actually an engineer, and ever since a kid, really, I've liked to tinker with electronics, and I went and got a degree and so forth. So I really wanted to understand what these frequencies were, what they did, and more importantly, would the body respond to them if they were projected? And when I was thinking about all this, when I read the Divine Design, I didn't know anything about Rife. I didn't know anything about all the equipment that we've just been discussing in the last talk here. Never knew any of that existed at all. So what I wanted to do was to build a machine which projected frequencies at the human body without making any noise, because all of the emotional frequencies that we produce, sort of like love, joy, and there's a whole. Well, these frequencies we run from 20 hertz, and that's something like. Right, okay, I've forgotten the one. But fear. If you think about fear is like 40, for example. There's a couple below that, and they run all the way up to enlightenment, which is about 700. In actual fact, enlightenment's got several different frequencies, but on the way you've got courage, love, so forth. So anyway, bearing in mind that all these frequencies, you can hear them, I wanted to make a machine that was completely silent, that would project these frequencies at the human body. So what I decided to do was to use ultrasound, which is in the range anywhere between around about 19 kilohertz through to about 40 kilohertz. You can typically get ultrasound devices. So I thought I'd use ultrasound and kind of piggyback the emotional frequencies on an ultrasound carrier. And I also thought that, bearing in mind that I've got an interest in radio communications with CBs and so forth, I do go outside on the hill sometime and set up, and I've got a big antenna, and I can actually talk to various different stations around the world. So I decided I would try and do the same with radio frequency as well. So this device here it's really just a prototype test bed. It was built for exploring this concept rather than making a product which I can repeat and sell on to various different practitioners which are interested. I'm working on that now, by the way. But this is really just a prototype for exploring the concept, bearing in mind that I didn't really have much knowledge about this when I started out. So yeah, I built this machine. It's got a RF output on there. I can put a wire in there. It's rather low frequency. It's not a very high frequency, so it's about, I think it's on the old long wave radios, if you remember those. But the problem with this, or the limitation with this, I should say, is it can only drive either the ultrasound or the RF at one time. So it's either RF or it's the ultrasonic cabinets. And because I don't have much time, I've not got any pictures of the cabinets, but if any of you want to come up and talk to me, I've got some pictures on my phone of the project in various different stages. I've got pictures of the cabinets on my phone as well. But the cabinets are about that high, and if you get close to them, they do make a little bit of noise, but as soon as you get back from them, they're pretty silent, really. And bearing in mind that they're ultrasonic, you don't really hear them at all, but they project the frequencies out. And when we were given the talk, we found that they had quite a range. It's the first time that I'd done this experimentation with other people experiencing the machine, but we had people kind of sitting back there on chairs, and they said they could actually feel the frequencies. Everyone came out kind of buzzing and uplifted. In actual fact, I had Anna in the audience who helped me quite a lot. She can also tell you what people experienced. But yeah, on the whole, it was very positive. So now I want to go on and, well, I'm actually designing the machine at the moment, which is based on this technology. But what I want to do is have two channels of ultrasound, and also one channel radio frequency. So basically, the idea is that with my frequency device, it will be completely silent, and it will kind of produce like a cocktail of frequencies, if you like, in one go. And it'll be creating more of a frequency environment rather than just one frequency being generated in the room for people to experience. It will be more like an environment of frequency. So, for example, you could have love being projected at you, so you're experiencing the frequency of love, plus you could have, say, 432 and perhaps another frequency, perhaps some of the solfeggio frequencies or something like that. Obviously, I think what I'll probably do is create some different names for different collections of frequencies that are combined together and produce them as programs, because all of this runs on a microcontroller, so I can program it. It's microcontroller, which for those of you who are not really familiar with electronics, it's kind of CPU based, same as a computer really. So it's all programmed, so I can produce various different programs, and the new machine would be free running. Unfortunately, this one's tied to different frequencies, so this one I've only tied it to the different frequencies like love, joy, courage, and so forth. But the new one that I'm looking to build will be free running, so I can actually generate frequencies, well, say between 20 to about 1,000 hertz and above. So obviously I'm not really interested in the low frequencies, but the higher ones are the positive ones are the frequencies that I'm interested in. But yeah, that's basically what I'm working on at the moment. And I'd just like to say that ever since I've started this, it's been a really interesting field. I'm getting more and more into it, and I find it very difficult to put it down. You know, it's yeah. Unfortunately, they do take a lot of work to develop these. It takes a long time to to explore what components are needed and actually design the system and program it. You know, it's not just hardware; it's software as well. So you've got to think about the hardware aspect and the software aspect of it as well. And then, I mean, this one I've kept it open so I can probe it with an oscilloscope, which I use, and so forth. As I said, it's more of a test bed. But the next one will be all contained with its own power supply and amplifiers to drive the ultrasonics, and also a small amplifier to drive an RF unit as well, which I'm going to. Have I got much time, is it? Okay. Right, well, thank you then. Thank you.